Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us this evening for the open workshop of the 2025-26 financial year budget information session. Glenorchy City Council acknowledges the Muwinina people as the traditional owners of this land. We recognise all Tasmanian Aboriginal people as the original owners and continuing custodians of the land and waters of this island of Truita. We pay our respect to Aboriginal elders past and present. We commit to working in a way that welcomes and respects all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. Now, I'd like to introduce the elected members here tonight, along with some very important council staff. Our elected members, if we go with Alderman Shane Alderton, we have Councillor Molly Kendall, bouncing around all over the place here, Alderman Stephen King, thank you, Alderman Tim Marks, thank you, Alderman Peter Riddler, Alderman Stuart Slade, Alderman Justin Stringer, and the very important Deputy Mayor, Alderman Russell Yaxley. Now, we're joined by some very prestigious staff here tonight, and that's why they're at the big table. We have the CEO, Tony McMullen. We have the Deputy Chief Executive Officer and Director of Infrastructure and Development and future CEO, Amelia Reali. We have the Director of Community and Corporate Services, Tracy Ehrlich. There you are. Chief Financial Officer, Michael Sokulski. Manager of Property, Environment and Waste, Luke Chu. Thank you, Luke. And the Manager of Stakeholder and Executive Functions, Christine Lane. Thank you. Tonight I've invited the Directors and the CFO to join us at the Council table to answer any budget-related questions as needed. Now, I'd just like to give the general update, which we usually do at the beginning of the meeting. The pool. Now, we understand people's frustrations with the timelines of the repair of the pool, particularly the announcement of the preferred tenderer, and please be assured that no one is more frustrated than me. However, this is a business deal that relies on another party to agree to contractual terms and conditions for a significant sized project. It is a process that needs to be done properly and that we need to take seriously, which we have, but that doesn't mean we don't also find it frustrating. This is just how business deals of this magnitude work. I will now ask our Manager of Property, Environment and Waste, whose team is overseeing the pool repair project, if we have any updates on whether the contract has been signed by the contractor or the likely date for receiving the contract. Luke.
Thank you, Mayor. We don't have it just yet. We are anticipating it hopefully late this week, perhaps early next week. Understand it's taken a little bit longer to do the contract negotiations than would have been liked. As you know, we have selected the preferred contractor, or council did, subject to contract negotiations. That process has just taken a little bit longer with some revisions to inclusions and exclusions and then revising drawings to go with that. And organisations, much the same as us, have their processes and policies that they have to follow as well, which can hold things up a little bit, like us having to take things to council meeting. They've got certain things they have to do as well. So we're very close. There's no issues or concerns. Everything is very much as we're anticipating with regards to the contract and the sum and the rest of it. It is just the last few final little bits of contract work that's happening.
Dare I ask about the completion date?
Completion date hasn't changed from what we've put out. Middle of next year is what we're anticipating. This process delay shouldn't have any bearing really on the program. The work program that was submitted didn't have them undertaken on groundworks until August, regardless. So really hasn't held that up. I know it's just frustrating in terms of letting the community know who the contractor is and that it is all sorted. But yes, reassure you, there is no concerns. It's just taken a little bit longer than we would have liked.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, Alderman Sloan.
With the government in caretaker mode, I know this would be an officer matter, but is it an officer's matter still? It's still.
We've received the funding.
Okay.
Yeah, I have been in touch with the state government recently. We've received half of the funding. The second half of the funding comes when we provide the signed contract, which is what they're waiting on.
Right.
But no, we have a signed contractual agreement. It shouldn't, the caretaker mode won't affect us. The only reason it would affect is if we tried to revise the deed or do something out of the ordinary that would need the minister's signature. We're not proposing any of that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm now moving on to the Youth Hub. Council officers are continuing negotiations for a site to house a youth hub in Glenorchy. We should know the outcome of these negotiations in the coming days, and we're really hopeful that's going to be positive news. We already have a generous $250,000 bequest from the estate of Reginald Webb to fit out this new space, and have recently received a commitment of $500,000 from the Minister for Young People to develop youth programs to be run out of the hub. So we are quite positive about this project. And now onto the budget briefing. I'm going to start with a snapshot. Whilst we hold a budget information session every year, this is the first year we've held one as part of our open workshop program. Sorry, my father has just decided to ring in. It is our hope that this will enable more people to be involved both online and in person. For those who are unable to attend tonight, this session is being recorded and can be viewed via Facebook or YouTube at a later date. This session is an opportunity to reaffirm our commitment to transparency, collaboration and the responsible stewardship of the community's resources. After the presentation, there'll be an opportunity for open discussion, so please ask any questions you might have. When I attended the budget briefing session last year, I spoke about the need to maintain a financially responsible position and that the council had a firm commitment to ensuring we wipe Glenorchy's deficit clean by the end of the council's term in 2026. I'm so pleased and proud to be able to tell you that all of your aldermen sitting here and the council staff have kept this promise to you, with our external debt paid down with a remaining loan balance of around $127,000, which will be paid out in the upcoming financial year. With no new borrowings and the elimination of external debt, this means we have the capacity to undertake more projects and deliver services which benefit the entire community. This has been a major effort and focus, and we are proud of this achievement on behalf of our community. The 2025-26 budget balances Council's delivery of services and infrastructure to meet our growing population's evolving needs with sustainable rates and fees. The rate rise is lower than anticipated. Council is mindful of the cost of living pressures many people in the community face and aims to ensure its service delivery remains affordable for the people who use it. With more than $1 billion in infrastructure and community assets managed by the council, it is vital that maintenance and renewal programs are funded to ensure residents and visitors have access to safe, fit-for-purpose facilities for many years to come. With strong cash reserves behind us, this council will continue to focus on service delivery, asset upgrades, new facilities, and will commence the grant-funded repair and reopening of the Glenorchy War Memorial Hall. Now, our 2024-25 achievements, what we'd like to brag about. Of course, the budget is more than just numbers on a page. It reflects our shared priorities, ambitions, and the vision we all hold for the future of our city. Thank you letters that I recently received from Year 3 and 4 students at Bowen Road Primary School for the renovations we did at the Benjafield Park project. Benjafield Park project highlight this point and remind us of why the community projects matter and how feedback helps us shape future projects. And with your indulgence, I'm just going to read out 2 of the 17 letters of approval that we received. Dear Glenorchy City Council, this is the best park I've been to. The park, it is safe for so many people. The playground is also designed for wheelchair people, so it is inclusive. I've always played hide and seek with my sister. I use the flying fox, it goes really fast, but maybe you could find a way to make the flying fox go even faster. Thank you for making the playground from a student in Year 3 4E. So that's lovely. The second one is, Dear Glenorchy City Council, I've had many fun space adventures with all of my friends at Venturefield Park. Thank you for making the playground safe, fair and inclusive and fun by putting in fun equipment, safe equipment and putting in equipment that includes everyone. It is so nice that you are spending all your time and money to look after us. My favourite bit of equipment is the Flying Fox. Thank you for making a great park, from a girl in Year 3-4E. So very appreciative praise. If I move on, I would, looking back at the last financial year, I believe we have achieved an incredible amount. While sometimes there is a focus on negativity and misinformation from just a few in our community, I believe in building up and not tearing down our community. So I'd like to reflect for a few minutes on some of the initiatives and projects from 2024-25 achieved by the members of this council and the staff involved. The highlights include Tolosa Park has been transformed with new parklands and trails created in partnership with Taswater, creating more green space for our community. If you haven't been up there for a while, please do so. Glenorchy War Memorial Pool. As we've discussed, we have signed the grant deed for the $5 million repair and reopening project. The design specifications, etc., have been developed and negotiations have concluded with a preferred tenderer and are just awaiting signature. Council finalised the business case for the new state-of-the-art Glenorchy War Memorial Pool, and that is something that I will definitely be championing over the rest of the term of this council. State government announcement that the Glenorchy Sports Centre would be built in Claremont and will become a vibrant hub for indoor sports. We will continue to work with the incoming state government to bring this exciting development to life. We've completed a new walking track connecting Lowestoft Bay with Conawa Bay, featuring Aboriginal naming, Takara Makuminya walking trail on Timtumili Minyana or Derwent River. The new boardwalk to Windermere Bay is also nearing completion. We have completed the $12.8 million soccer facility upgrades at KG5 and North Chigwell, including new change room, pitches and lighting. Windermere Skate Park and Pump Track have also been completed following a great community consultation. $1.84 million landfill cell extension is underway to reduce waste disposal costs. In December last year, a recommendation was approved by the council to vote an additional $600,000 in combination of operational and capital expenditure to increase service levels for the CBD cleansing by almost threefold to acquire a footpath sweeper, an additional cleansing truck equipped with pressure washing equipment and a rapid response utility, as well as staff to operate these. I'm also very proud to convey that we've received formal recognition as an employer of choice by the Tasmanian Government, reflecting Council's focus on staff wellbeing, an inclusive culture and professional development opportunities for our employees. Childcare upgrades with Venturefield Childcare Service renovated, improving compliance and increasing care capacity. We have also made progress on climate action with 3 electric cars added to the fleet, 2 EV chargers, solar panels 93 kilowatts in total, and a new gas extraction wells have been installed at our waste facilities. We are also investigating electric vehicle charging stations in some car parks. The Moona Arts Centre delivered a sold-out April school holiday program and celebrated its 10th birthday with a free community event. The centre also hosted the 10 Days on the Island Festival, featuring cultural performances and community participation, and increased revenue and space utilisation in line with the new business plan. The Glenorchy Jobs Hub continues to go from strength to strength in helping our job seekers obtain employment. In the last year, they have worked with 370 job seekers, placing over 300 of those in jobs. In April this year, the Jobs Hub hosted the Career and Employment Expo, which provided the opportunity for over 2,500 participants to explore a range of job opportunities for more than 100 exhibitors. Plus, feedback was that several people gained employment on that day alone. In addition to the very successful Career and Employment Expo, we've housed a number of events for our community, 400 plus people attended the Youth Week Skate and Connect event and ongoing programs to reduce antisocial behaviour. We marked Council's 60th birthday with a community celebration, historical exhibits and an art exhibition. The Treasure Trail was launched to promote recycling and reuse in Glenorchy. Over 500 new citizens were welcomed across 11 citizenship ceremonies. This is just the tip of the iceberg, and I'd like to let you know that our staff and elected members work hard to deliver for our community every single day. I'd like to thank everyone involved, including our community and partners, for your support in working with us to achieve great things. We look forward to delivering even more for our community next financial year. And on that note, I'd just like to thank everyone around the council table, this is the elected officials, for your collaborative manner in us all helping to achieve these great outcomes in conjunction with our sensational staff. So I think that's something that we should all be immensely proud of. With that, I'd now like to hand over to our CEO, Tony McMullen, for the remainder of tonight's presentation.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to talk about our future direction survey, which we used to get information that helped us to shape the budget in response to what the community asked us to prioritise. I'm also going to talk about some of the things that we're going to be doing in terms of the priorities in the budget, and then I'm going to talk about some of the numbers, some of the budget highlights. And then, as you can see, we've got a number of senior staff on hand to respond to any questions that there might be. So, first of all, the Future Direction Survey. The last 4 years, what we've tried to do with the budget process is to go out to the community really early in the piece, so late the year before the budget is finalised. We've used that time to ask the community, what are the things that you most value from council operations? What do you want us to do? And this year we used that approach. We opened the survey in October and it ran through for over a month through to November. We had about 220 contributions from the community in response to that, and that feedback has also been added. We've had additional feedback from other community engagement activities throughout the year, because we're always talking to the community throughout the year. So all of those activities helped us to understand what the community wants out of this budget, and that's gone into the shaping of the budget. Okay, and what the community told us in terms of the priorities from the budget was that there were 5 major things: asset management, waste management, recreation and public open spaces, community development and wellbeing, and environmental management. They were the major things that the community wanted us to deliver out of this budget. In terms of capital works, some of the key capital works that the community asked for was obviously the Glenorchy pool redevelopment was a major priority. Improved accessibility and infrastructure within our municipality, and also environmental and recreational enhancements like improvements to our parks and public spaces. Thank you. And so in terms of our 2025-26 priorities, these are the things that Council has prioritised. We have a big annual plan that is going to also be endorsed at the same time as the budget, and these are really the higher profile priority actions. There's a whole range of other things that Council will continue to do as part of its business as usual. We'll touch on a few of those in a minute. But the priority actions for this year are to repair the pool. So we heard some introductory remarks at the start of the session about the fact that we're very close to signing a contract with the preferred tenderer, and then we'll be able to get on and start works to repair and reopen the pool. Council also made a great decision to, and I know we've heard, as officers heard from our elected members for many years, about the need to prioritise a clean city. And I'm pleased to say that Council because of Council's solid financial position, Council was able to make a decision in advance of this budget to start moving towards a clean team within the city. So we've already purchased a mini sweeper, and we're employing additional staff to prioritise additional equipment like a graffiti truck to prioritise a clean city. And we're in the process of employing new people to be part of that clean team as well. So additional, from memory, $600,000 investment in cleaning our city. The next thing, and obviously a really important one given recent news and events, is the Glenorchy Youth Hub. We're working really hard, and as the Mayor mentioned, we already have some pre-commitments in terms of some funding to help us establish a youth hub. We see that as an important way of bringing services together in one place, and to really assist our kids, particularly some of those that have got more challenges than others, to get on positive pathways. The next thing is part of our general recreational environmental improvements program is an upgrade of Apex Park in Lutana. You may recall that we've over the last couple of years we've renewed 10 parks with federal government funding. We've also developed the Benjafield Park play space that the primary school kids were just talking about, as well as Gibbons Reserve. So this is a further investment in our parks within the city. We're prioritising community safety and inclusion. Obviously, Council's been working very hard with Tasmania Police and with our communities and stakeholders to focus on community safety, and that will be a continued priority going forward in the coming year. We also have a priority projects prospectus, and we are out there actively pressing the flesh and banging on doors to try and advance that program. And a couple of those things would come as no surprise, and some of them are named up in the. We've actually been successful with some funding for those projects already. We're also continuing to support increased housing supply within the city. We have a statement of commitment on housing, and our approach there is to really look at doing what we can do as a council to release surplus land for housing, to make sure that our approval processes are really efficient, and also to support homelessness programs within the city. We also are looking to review our economic development strategy this year. It's something that is overdue for a review, and that'll be a major focus within the coming year. And we're also going to be focusing on listening to those voices that are a bit harder to hear, some of the disadvantaged communities or newly arrived communities within the city who don't find it that easy to access council. We'll be focusing on listening to them and understanding what they want out of our council. Thank you. Okay, I mentioned before our business as usual. So putting aside all those exciting priority projects, we are also very focused on delivering our day-to-day activities, which is so important to the community's life. Continuing to look after our roads and footpaths, undertake waste collection and recycling, look after our children in childcare centres and community services, continue to do the ongoing work to upkeep our parks and environmental areas, look after public safety, continue to promote local events, and also make sure that we're keeping the city neat and clean and keeping it spick and span. And I mentioned state government charges. We not only collect money to fund council operations, but unfortunately we have some requirements to collect money on behalf of the state government, particularly the fire services levy, which is a significant amount of money, which we then need to pass on to the state government. Thank you. Okay, let's look at some of the budget headlines. We're projecting an operating surplus of $871,000 in 2025-26. We're still looking at an underlying operating deficit of $1.2 million. However, that is about a $1 million improvement on the previous year's budget. In terms of the headline revenue and expenditure, we're looking at operating revenue of around $83 million and operating expenditure of around $82.2 million. And we're also looking at a big capital expenditure program of $31.1 million. Thank you. Our cash balance that we're expecting at the start of the financial year is $35.5 million, so a very healthy cash balance. And that's important because we need to make sure that we can meet our day-to-day commitments as and when they fall due. Our rates income are projected to be $48.013 million. And we also, because of our $1 billion or more of capital assets, we have a big depreciation bill each year, and we use that as a guide to how much money we need to set aside to renew and maintain our capital works. And this coming year, we're looking at, excuse me, I get emotional about depreciation. This year, we're looking at an amount of $17.8 million. And as the Mayor mentioned before, we're planning to be debt-free by the end of 25-26, and we won't be undertaking there's no plans at this stage to undertake any new borrowings during this next financial year. Thank you. In terms of what our operating income looks like, you can see the major share of our income is from rates, 58%. Our waste charges attract 13% of our revenue. And then we look at a whole range of smaller revenue sources. I mentioned the state fire levy, which we collect and then pass on to the state government. That is 8% of our overall income. And then we're dropping down to a number of smaller items, clearly grants from state and federal sources. They wax and wane over the years, as well as being a major owner of Taswater. So we receive a dividend from Taswater operations. And then we also obviously charge user charges and we also have other statutory charges. So that's the picture for operating income. Thank you. In terms of operating expenditure, the wagon wheel's a little bit more spread. You can see that some of the major sources are just in terms of where the money goes out the door are state services and levies at 17.8%. Our assets and depreciation, 22.1%. So because we are such a big owner of capital assets, we have that depreciation expense as well as the need to maintain those assets, and that is a big expenditure item. And then we have some other direct infrastructure categories like roads and stormwater, facilities and buildings, our environmental areas and open spaces, our community engagement, supporting our community through community development, and admin expenses in terms of keeping the city running, as well as our cleanliness program. Thank you. So the 2025-26 budget, as those numbers suggest, a healthy financial situation for the council. We're looking at an average rate increase of 4.95% in 2025-26. That is consistent with our long-term financial plan. You might recall a 5.95% increase last year, and prior to that, an even a slightly higher increase, from memory, 8.95%. So this is a planned trajectory for us to reduce the rate burden on our ratepayers. I mentioned before the surplus operating result of $871,000, so it's a positive operating outcome for the council, debt-free by the end of 25-26. A large capital program of 31.7 million, including the upgrade of the pool, and also enough cash reserves to meet our day-to-day needs as a council. Thank you. And I'll hand back to the Mayor for questions.
So do we have any questions from elected members? No? Any words of praise?
Yeah.
We'll slap each other on the back. Yes, thank you. Councillor, Alderman King, sorry.
Thank you, Mayor. Look, I've been here since 2008, and this is the best position I've seen us in. Congratulations to the staff, the team, CEO, Deputy CEO, Director, all our staff. Incredible job to get us in this position. The Aldermen have worked hard towards this. We have seen growth in this community. We're aiming for a cleaner city, a safer city. We're an employer of choice. There's so much good news in this that I hope to goodness that we get this out there, that there's so much misery in this world at the moment that surely we can promote the good things that have come out of this. And I hope we do, because there's a lot to be proud of, pleased with, whichever way you want to put it. And we ought to be grateful for where we are, not be miserable like the rest of the country is, unfortunately, and the world in its current state. So I'm extremely pleased and happy to be part of this council at this time and see where we've got to and where we're yet to go.
Thank you. Any further comments? Yes, thank you, Alderman Riddler.
Yeah, user charges, I think it was 2% of the total revenue. Was that wrong?
Yeah.
It was 2%. Have they been in line with inflation at least over time?
Yeah, so I'll answer the question. Yeah, so the fees and charges have been capped on average. It's a maximum increase of 5% compared to the prior year. So yes, we've maintained the fees and charges largely in line with inflation and in line with the increase in our own cost base.
Plus we've increased our base of user charges too.
Marginally.
Yeah. Well, it just seems a low figure compared to the total rates. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
And that excludes state government collections.
Yeah, I think that we all sort of separated out state government, federal, state grants. It separated out statutory charges as well. So yes, they have been separated out. But overall, at that sort of macro level, the fees and charges have been kept to a minimum and in line with inflation.
And the bucket of money from fire, is that still coming through? Obviously, usually quite late in the financial year, isn't it?
Yeah, so the fire services levy is obviously set by the state government, so we simply just pass it on. And yes, that fire services levy has also increased this financial year based on what state government wants to collect, and that's simply just a pass through.
Okay, thank you.
Any further contribution? No?
I'll wait to the meeting.
Okay. To the meeting. Okay, yes. Well, I'd just like to say again, I'm immensely proud of the staff, the senior executive and every staff member who, whether they sweep the streets or paint off the graffiti or whatever their role in this council is, I'd like to express sincere gratitude for running this council so efficiently and helping us as elected officials turn around the fairly perilous financial predicament we were in a few years back. And it's a credit to everybody involved. So thank you very much. Now, if there's no more questions from the Alderman, we'll take questions from the floor. Yes, would you like to come to the front table? If you don't mind just giving your name and suburb.
Tessa, I'm from Glenorchy.
Yes, thank you, Tessa.
This is probably more aimed at your Chief Executive Officer.
Yes.
With the rollout of the Disability Rights, Inclusions and Safeguards Act, how do you predict that affecting your budget?
CFO.
At the moment, our budget includes and takes into account any legislation that is in force. So when we do prepare a budget, we take all of that into consideration. So at this point in time, we're not expecting the budget to change based on the rollout of that legislation.
You've got ways for the disability inclusion plans to be written and.
I believe so.
And the other question I have is around the listening to voices that are hard to hear. What is the indication around including the people with disability and making sure that they can access that services or contribute to the council?
Chair?
Yeah, so we have an existing access and inclusion committee.
Yeah.
And in terms of the engagement program, I need to defer either to our director or to our community engagement lead.
If I can answer that question. So,
Thank you, Kristen.
the priority, the first step of that priority will be to develop an engagement plan that includes all groups in the community, regardless of ability and culture and basically we just want to hear from everybody, and we hear from the loud voices, as you'd appreciate.
Yes.
But we're really aware that we need to try and keep trying harder to hear the voices of people who don't. We constantly strive to make all of our communications accessible. We're not perfect, but we're moving towards being much better than we have been.
I know there's a large number of the community who are non-verbal.
Yes.
Who quite often don't get their voices heard.
So we'll be looking to ways, and we'll work through the Access and Inclusion Committee to provide advice on how we can best do that.
Yeah, that's the main two questions.
And Tisa, if you would like to make a contribution, you obviously sound like someone with knowledge in this sector. If you'd like to meet with Christine straight after this meeting, we'd be glad to hear from you. Alderman Marks just wants to make a comment on that.
Yes, I just want to make a comment that I'm actually one of the access and inclusion people. We always look for people that want to come and talk at our meetings and tell us what the public want. If public want us to go to them, we're looking at going to them this year and seeing what all the people with disabilities or with access issues, doesn't matter if you've got disability or not.
Because I find that Glenorchy as a municipality has very little representation from disabled organisations. For example, like Children Association with Disabilities. We used to have Autism Tas, that's now collapsed.
Yeah, well, we are very happy to have representation from any of those organisations. It's the organisations themselves that are not choosing to.
Oh yeah, I understand that. We have to try to lure them here.
I'm representing Tas Amputee Society and anybody with a disability that wants to approach us.
So we do need to hear from you, Tessa.
Okay, thank you.
Alderman Alderton.
Thank you. I would just like to also add, Tess, I'm on the Access and Inclusion Committee,
Yep.
and I strongly encourage any individual to approach me directly through my contact details on the council website if they have any issues or anything they want to bring to the Access and Inclusion Committee. So there's an avenue to go through as well.
Cool. Excellent, thank you.
Thank you. Oh, I was going to call you Alderman. Sorry, Eddie Steenberger. You're here more often than some of us. Your question.
I'm Eddie Steenberg and I live in Rosetta. My first question is about council businesses. You've given us the big picture of council as a whole. What about those individual council businesses like the Moon Arts Centre and the childcare centres? What can you tell us about their picture, financial picture?
Well, I guess in terms of our approach generally, we have certain areas of our council operations that are considered to be significant business activities. So from memory, waste services and childcare are those. I don't believe the Moon Arts Centre is a significant business activity for us in terms of the accounting standards. But yeah, we certainly, the way we frame the budget, and I do need to acknowledge, excuse me, the huge amount of work that goes into framing the budget each year, not just our finance team who do a fantastic job, but also it requires inputs from right across the organisation. Every business unit needs to contribute to it. So we basically have a series of cost centres, obviously, through through the organisation, and areas like childcare or waste services or the Murner Arts Centre, they do have individual cost centres for those activities. I can't quote any numbers off the top of my head, but the CFO may be able to provide a bit more detail.
I'll have to just give you a little bit of extra, I guess, colour. So obviously with the upgrade in the childcare centre, especially the Benjafield one, we are looking at, and we will be increasing, for example, the number of spots that we can offer to the community, which is a fantastic, I guess, initiative from that perspective. That in line with some of the regular cost increases that we have, sort of sufficiently covers that area. So that's, it's a self-funding mechanism or model, which is really, really good. Certainly from a landfill perspective, we're looking at a few new initiatives as well in order to try and offset some of the costs. So you might be aware that obviously there is quite a significant state government levy which came into effect last year. Obviously, the council has to pay for that, and that's obviously being funded through fees, but also us looking at recycling some of the materials that we get at the landfill site. So that will obviously help, I guess, extend the life of the tip, but also it aims to reduce some of the costs and the cost burden on the community. So I guess they're the two major ones that we sort of look at. In terms of, for example, the Murner Arts Centre, again, that's more of a community benefit, and we've obviously been working quite hard to extend the program that is being offered to the community, and also looking at extending and increasing the number of space, services and events that are provided as well. And they're quite sort of, they're on a positive trajectory.
So are you saying that each of those businesses is self-supporting?
Yeah, so for example, childcare is self-supported, landfill is also self-supported. The Arts Centre, we do have to add funds to make that operationally feasible, but obviously that's I guess a decision that that we've made some time ago to ensure that we can provide those services to the local community.
Thank you. And the CEO just wants to make a comment.
Just in relation to the Murner Arts Centre, so you may recall a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago now probably, we had a service review and we looked at the Murner Arts Centre. Since then they've gone ahead in leaps and bounds in terms of their creative program, but also at the same time they had been working prior to that to a business plan that had been set and not reviewed since 2015. So there was a major review of their business plan. As the CFO said, it is still, we still regard it as a community service obligation, so it's not a self-supporting activity of council by any means, but certainly we've got a business plan in place and we're working to increase revenue sources as part of those activities, so that we try to maintain the level of subsidy and not increase the level of subsidy. That's the aim of the business plan.
And I think just as we don't expect to make a profit out of our sports grounds, we acknowledge that not everyone's into sport, and culture is a very important part of any community. So whilst we do keep pressure on the Murner Arts Centre to be as profitable as it can, we do see it as a community benefit that does need subsidisation.
Thank you for that. My second question is about Project Hudson. Is that still going, and what sort of impact is that going to have in the coming year?
Yes, through you, Mayor. Yes, Project Hudson is still going. We're in a negotiation process with the vendor at the moment. We have certainly reached some operational difficulties with the vendor, and we are undertaking negotiations with them at the moment. And we're also looking at alternative ways of dealing with our core technology going forward. But at this stage, negotiations haven't been concluded. I can't say much more at this stage, but that's the situation with that project.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions from the floor? No? Well, they've been very helpful, thank you. And I'll just give the Alderman another chance. No one wants to add anything tonight? No? Well, thank you to everyone online and in person. for attending our open workshop. These are important ways for us to communicate with our community and make ourselves as transparent and as accountable as we possibly can be. As we said, this will be available for viewing as early as tonight or any time into the future. So once again, thank you very much to the team of aldermen and elected officials, and especially to our hard-working executive team, and all of the staff of this council. Immensely proud of the work you do. And with that, I'll close the meeting, the time being 5:15. Thank you.